Hi all, welcome to a brand new episode of I Am, and it's great to be back with you. And I'm sure the previous episodes was, of course, eye-opening, and you learned a lot. And today too, we have an individual who is no strange term to the industry itself. She's a person who has walked miles, the lengths and breadths, and of course, understood the positives, the negatives of being in corporate, and she has learned her lessons. And of course, she's here with us today to give you a good feel about her journey and also inspire you with her words. So she is none other than a towering figure in industry, Kasturi Chellaraja. Great to have you with us in this segment of I Am. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Joel, and thanks for having me on this show today. Looking forward to it.
Definitely. And honored to have you as well as one of our guests in this episode of I Am. And I'm sure our audience is thrilled to find out what you have been up to, how have your journey been, and what is in the future in the life of Kasturi Chellaraja. So let's start off directly by asking. We'll directly dive into the question. Is that fine? We're ready for this. Okay. So, this individual by the term of Kasturi, where did this all start? How did this all happen?
Simply is I was I was lucky enough to be born to a set of parents who were liberal enough to allow a girl to be um, everything she wanted to be. It also helped that there were no other boys. There were no boys. We had two girls. So I was a tomboy.
Okay.
And yeah, and the name itself was my grandfather's gift. He saw this in, I think he heard it in some form in India, even though they're from Sri Lanka. And yeah, and I I guess the fact that we didn't have many luxuries gave me the luxury of exploring all sorts of getting into escapades, exploring ways of fending for myself, practically winning on a kind of a street smart way. And that's how it happened, and anchored around sports and outdoor activities. But I remember as a kid, even now, I was a very compassionate person. And I loved animals. I cry for when I see other people hurt. So you find a person who's having those kind of qualities, who is very competitive in terms of whatever she did. Even if I took part in a skipping race, I wanted to come first. In a sense, I didn't want to, not in a very malicious way. I would love to win. And I love to go and like help somebody who fell as well. So you have a very passionate, competitive young girl who is very soft as well, who had to learn the practical ways of operating in an environment, whichever the environment was. And yeah, and then eventually fast forward, when I got into a career, it kind of reflected where I could use my strengths. And it did help that sports gave me a huge edge over the others, because Sri Lanka is we are not the most endowed physically, so you have to practice a lot. And even within this environment, having been a leader in the sports arena helped me to actually understand people came from different backgrounds, but we can support each other, collaborate to get a better outcome. Yeah, that's who Kasturi is, and that's how it started. And over the 5 decades, I guess each of us, of our experiences, have kind of laddered a personality on you.
Yes.
And that's I'm a mixture of all my experiences, and that's who I am.
What a good start. That's who she is. Well, defines our segment as well. I am. And I think we got a good feel to start off with about Kasturi's humble beginning and the go-getter character in you, and that eager and that enthusiasm within you to achieve a goal and finish it off. Even from, you say, even if it was a sport or even if it was something else, but also the sense of, you said, how timid you get and how timid you become in terms of another person's feelings. That's a great thing. So let's shift from the classroom to the boardroom. When Kasturi was schooling, did she ever picture herself, in a boardroom, managing people? How did it all happen? In the classroom, what kind of a person was Kasturi?
So when Kasturi was schooling and in a classroom, I mean, to anchor this, Kasturi is a person who dreams for today, didn't and wants to accomplish a lot in that day, right? So my school, all my dreams were around winning a tournament and playing for Sri Lanka. And of course, I never wanted to fail my O level or A level. I needed to make sure that I was good at that. So my dreams during those times, other than the sport, was to one day get married and have kids.
Okay.
Yeah. Simple.
Right.
Career didn't come anywhere in my dreams. I did admire, I think there was a lady, Anusha Kumaraswamy, at John Keel's, and somehow my dad had worked and I used to read about her and I used to admire her. But I never thought of myself in that corporate environment.
Yeah.
So, yes, I had never pictured myself in a boardroom. But I aspired a lot for myself in the sense, yes, marriage, kids, but I also wanted a home. I wanted to drive a decent car because as a kid, I only went by bus on the footboard and stuff like that. So I guess you have certain lifestyles you want, and then you picture this environment. And I dreamt all that. But if I break it down, daily, I just wanted my things I wanted to achieve and I want to be happy in that. Weirdly, it was never about money.
Okay.
And that may be why I didn't really dream about having a corporate life. Yeah. So at the classroom, I was one of those playful people who were dreaming about how can the team get better the next day? How can we practice more? Things like that. Very simple things.
I see. Okay. So everything was thought about simply, but one day, of course, a big reality it was made in front of you and you achieved it. And still in the process.
It is still in the process. I guess one lesson is which which worked is you break it up into bites which you like. Yes, you have a bigger picture, but accomplish day-to-day things which open another door. And over time, you kind of become better at doing these stuff. And you elevate yourself because I guess when you don't focus on achieving greatness today, you might not be equipped to achieve greatness in a bigger sense.
That's true. Some great words coming out in this conversation with Kasturi. And I would like to ask you this question. There is this particular situation, or we'll say an incident, that opens some person's eye to say that, okay, this is the day that it's going to change. Going back to your school days, was there a particular incident that you still remember up to date to say that, okay, you know what, today I learned my lesson and I got a good idea and some great, like we'll say, a lesson out of this incident, and that changed my life. Any particular incident like that you remember?
Well, not exactly, but I can tell you. Okay, so as I said, I didn't focus too much on my studies. I took it for granted that I could decently do well. So I was in the Tamil medium, and up to 1983, if you had a class of 40, I would be within the top 3. Right?
Wow.
I would never come first, and with least amount of effort, I would be, because I was very good in math and I was very bad in my mother tongue and the subjects I didn't like. So
for me, it was the other way around.
Really? I just weighted average and managed to come out somewhere. But so when 83 happened, in our class of 40, I think about 38 of them went off to either they migrated or went to Jaffna. There was a lot who went to Jaffna because they all got impacted. And after I O-levels in 84, they came back.
Okay.
Now I'm like this prima donna thinking.
Yeah.
So they came into the science field, a class. Even though I did math, I was the only one doing math. I used to go to another teacher who taught me. So now I'm looking at these people who have gone to Jaffna for 1.5 years and come back. And I presume I was still going to be up there in the first 3. And the first term tests or whatever came, and we are doing bio and chemistry. And I was almost last or one before the last. And I was thinking, crap, this cannot happen to me because I'm competitive. I don't want to come first. But I clearly didn't have to be at the bottom there.
After being in the top 3.
So then I thought, okay, get your act together and start studying because clearly they're doing something good right there and I have missed it. And it was the same lot. It was a different environment where
Yeah.
they focused clearly on their studies.
Mm.
Came back into this environment where I was like totally playful. I guess there I did kind of change my trajectory in how I approached education at that point of it. Yeah.
A turning point to think, look at things in a different way,
Yeah,
and not take things for granted.
Granted. And you know what, there's a way of, you really have to put some more effort there. Yeah.
Great. Of course, that was one of Kasturi's turning point in school time. So, shifting from school time, I think we spoke a lot about school time now. How did you, where was the stepping stone of your career? You thought to yourself, now you said O levels, A levels, you needed it. And did you have in the back of your mind that one day I would be this person? This is where I would start my career. This is the profession I would continue with and excel in it. How did that happen?
I wish I could say I really did know where I was going to go. So in school, I would say I wanted to be an engineer because, as I said, I was good at math.
Okay, yes.
And either you're a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or accountant, right? And I didn't like accounts. I didn't even offer accounts for O-level. So just to sound proper, because I mean, I didn't have an ambition, but I said I want to be an engineer so that I could do that.
Yeah.
And A-level happened, and accidentally, as I finished A-levels, I was headhunted to play netball for an audit firm. So that's accounting. Clueless what it meant. I just loved the fact that I can play netball and play for Sri Lanka, play basketball for Sri Lanka. They were quite open to it. Joined them. Being the competitive person, I learned auditing from a practical sense.
Okay.
And my only promise I had given my mother was that I would get a qualification. So that's how, I mean, our time, when you don't have resources, uni education, which is free, was the only choice. So happily playing basketball till universities opened up. At that time, it would close for long times because of the rioting and JVP issues we had then.
Yes.
And when they promptly opened up, I think I walked in and somebody tried to drag me and I walked out. That was the end of it, right? Then I thought, okay, now let's focus. I have this audit firm here. So
that's when you gave up university life.
Yes, I gave it all of about 4 hours, I think, on that. And then I came and told I was actually again headhunted by a bank. And I thought, okay, now I'll become a banker.
Okay.
Because I didn't have money. My parents didn't have money to put me through any private education.
All this headhunting came into place only because of sport?
Only sport.
Wow. Okay.
Because that time, so my students was always splashed in the papers like Mercantile A Division, whichever, and it was a lot of branding, right? So corporates also use sports as a lot of branding, and they actually came and headhunted all 7 players.
Okay.
And 6 went because not even then audit firms were not the best paymasters.
Yes.
And I decided to tell my boss I'm also leaving, and he said, no, you stay, your work is valuable. By that time, I really was good at my job.
Okay.
So they said, your work is valuable. I was a senior auditor, no qualification. But I said, I don't have money to pay for an education. And he said, why don't you do accounting? And he actually said, do chartered. I thought, look, I'll die of boredom in that.
Yeah.
Let me do CIMA. So that's how I approached and became an accountant, simply that I needed a qualification. B, I had an organization which valued me and was willing to pay for it. And I got qualified there.
Okay.
So I didn't plan to become an accountant. I became an accountant. I enjoyed the learning process of it. And then I wanted to become a mother. So basically the qualification box was ticked. I had done it for my mother. I didn't realize how much I'd equipped myself.
Yes.
And I think that's a bit of advice my mom gave me. And that's how my career started. I mean, I used the qualification also, I had experience and I had a qualification to back it.
Yes.
Not like now when people have the qualification and then experience to back it.
That's true, yes. Because they say both have to go hand in hand so that you get it with both ways through your qualification and practical experience as well. So that was how the career change happened for you in terms of never wanted to be an accountant, but then you got into it through an audit firm only because of sports. That's how it happened.
I thought it was really boring to do all these double entries.
Yeah.
you didn't understand because the action happens before it comes into an entry, right?
Yes.
And it was like, why you're not part of this whole action of
You
revenue
just
and
record it
yeah,
after that
yeah,
data entry kind of thing.
yeah,
It starts out like that. But today it's a whole different picture for you, of course. Then we spoke about how the career thing happened to you, and that was your stepping stone. Uh, we'll talk about a role model. Role model, Kasturi looks up. Okay, what happened there? Is there this one particular person that you look up to? I'm here today because of this individual, or many individuals put together?
So I used to admire. So I'll break it into two.
Okay.
One person I really admired in life throughout was Mother Teresa, of her selflessness. And I don't think, even though I say I admire, I don't think I could ever be that selfless or be able to do the work she does
Yes.
Without humanly feeling some sort of, can I get into that environment? Can I touch this
That's right.
person? It's a great sense of respect and what I admire. Then I'll break it into the fact that because of certain people I'm here. I think I have to mention 3 people purely because it would be disfavor in different elements. So the first would be my mom, right? She practically sacrificed everything just to educate 2 kids and put food on the table, teach us that education was important, never told us that girls are supposed to only get married. Just because we saw her. She was a teacher, she was doing 3 jobs in different forms.
Wow.
And she would, I think, barely sleep 4 hours. And she also didn't force us to cook and do all that, which I don't know if it's a good thing or bad thing, but so that was my mom. And rightly or wrongly, she believed the marriage was an institution. She has to hold it for the sake of the kids. And and I see how much she went through in life. And I think that's the main reason I'm who I am. Secondly would be, I think, Someswaran Javikrama and my bosses, Somes and another Javikrama, because they saw something in this girl and they paid for the education. If they didn't, would I be a qualified accountant? I don't know. Would I have the same trajectory? I can't forget that. So they kind of pivot. He gave me I had the foundation of an education. They just cemented it with a qualification which was paid by them. And that is a big part of who I am today, right? Thirdly, I think it would be Hussein, who is our current chairman, because he had the foresight to be gender blind even then. I was very forthright even then. They knew the work. They had to do a lot of adjustment to accommodate this straight shooting lady who called a spade and was always obsessed with performance, and create a path and saw things in me which I didn't see. I might be, if they didn't see my strengths and push me into places which I was very uncomfortable in, I would have really happily been doing things I'm comfortable. Humanly, when you're comfortable, you keep doing it, you get praise for it, and you think that's good. It's a big risk to move out of your comfort zone. But they kept pushing me, right? And also told me, look, if it doesn't work, there's a cushion for you. So I guess that brought me to this level, and the exposure and also the support given in that journey. So today, Hema says we proudly call ourselves gender blind.
Yes.
And we actually, I succeeded the initial years because they knew women were not having it equal at home. And I was a single woman by then. So then they had to make it very unequal for me at office. So lots of women who were single or women who were mothers actually we had the license to walk in a bit late.
Yes.
But they knew at the end of it that outcomes are better than anybody who worked 8 hours a day or, walked in at 8:30.
Flexi hours.
It was flexi hours then when it was not formal. We could work from home then when it was not, it was not during COVID kind of thing. So I guess that families matter, and today we've evolved to families matter. If you are working there and you had a kid, we would encourage you to take a bit of more responsibility. And if you have to take care of your parents, you have the license to do it. So, yeah.
That's how everything has evolved. And I would like to touch upon this. There was this whole buzz which was created. Eyes of Media was on this individual,
Yeah.
Kasturi, a few months ago, when you were appointed as the first female CEO of a conglomerate, which is a huge thing. And to be honest, a lot of people got to know about this individual by the name of Kasturi. You see, even if it's something right after your appointment, this is actually me talking from another point of view. We saw you at media briefings, we saw you at panel discussions. How did you take up this whole change when the media was hawking and looking at you in a different, like everyone was looking at you?
Yeah, so I didn't expect that. So because remember when I came to sit on this seat,
Mm.
I had anyways done multiple businesses. I had run the logistics, which was predominantly perceived as male dominant in 2010. Grew that business, went into pharma, doubled that revenue, and came in here. I've done IT, which I didn't know. So in my mind, it was normal. You give a
Yes.
person an opportunity, you go in. And then when this announcement came out, and I guess people got to know, I think the sheer improbability that a woman can head diverse or multiple businesses from different industries made that whole made me news, made me come out in the headlines kind of thing. So before that, even I would be at, I love to advocate women and young leaders to come out in life, and I speak and I support them. But post that, when you sit on the same panel, it's kind of highlighted in a
Yes.
different way. And honestly, I had conversations with the company, and I said, look, I wouldn't want to be in media. I want to get out of it. And they said, no, we'll give you 6 months to do it, and then you get out of it. And because they said it's not correct, you should be part of it.
Yes.
So it was a struggle because, so with media, the majority, I think, actually wished me well, and the younger generation actually
Yes.
saw a lot of hopes, especially the young women. But there was this other aspect also, which is men and women who are waiting to hammer you each time you're out in media.
That's
That was something I was really struggled with. So, which used to bring me down certain days. But then I think, okay, you do your job. And I was really focused in doing my job, making sure that I succeed so that the young women have a legacy that somebody has succeeded so that they have the right to aspire to succeed.
agree.
If I hadn't, it would have been a legacy of failure for the young women. So that was my focus after that. But it was, I don't know, it overwhelmed me a lot, and it made me really more private because
Yes.
of it. Yeah.
Because all eyes on you, and every action could also have a reaction in any sense. Yeah.
So I'm a person who dresses casually in shorts, and I get about and work out, and I realized then you're out there. How are they perceiving me? And it's. I also had started changing and trying to react to it. Then I thought, no, you're
No.
who you are.
Yes,
so it takes a lot.
definitely.
Yeah.
When also when they put this term as the first, it carries a huge responsibility in terms of creating that benchmark. And then, like you said, there are people, especially women, aspiring to be who you are in years and months to come. So, how did you carry this burden of being the first? How was this?
It was tough. Remember the circumstances, right? When they announced it, COVID had they announced that I'll be deputy CEO and then becoming CEO somewhere in June. But the preparation, I didn't know COVID was coming. So I was like taking it as business as usual. Yes, there is Sri Lankan economy is struggling a bit, but you can navigate it. And then you take over it's announced with COVID, and I had to make sure that you navigate COVID and you still show growth, build pillars which are going to give you sustained growth, and shed certain businesses which are not part of our portfolio. So it was really tough. And how do I do that and still come out and make sure that the team succeed? Remember, when I became CEO, the biggest lesson I learned is I just have the span of control is 5 MDs.
Yes.
When I was a managing director of farm, I had the 1,500 employees and logistics another 1,000. All of them I could influence very easily. Here, no, it's just the 5 MDs of the clusters, and so you have to slow down and you have to make sure you are influencing them the right way, because they are very smart leaders, and
Yes.
I just needed to make sure my vision, they understood, they know how to unlock that. So it was a lot of work, but amazing team, and they welcomed me, they supported me, they adjusted to me, and yeah, I guess that's what created the growth for the group.
And it's continuing to happen the same. And
It's the environment is getting tougher, but look, we can't run away from the fact that you need to navigate whatever the environment is. So you pivot and you try to adjust. Yeah.
Something very interesting which you told us, that even when you were back in the day as MD, CEO, how you were handling businesses, how you managed it, and you said even you doubled the pharma. What is that driving force within you? I'm sure even the board recognized something in you, that I think Kasturi has this hidden talent, or there's something about this individual. What is it? Are you able to tell our audience what the driving force is that they saw in you?
Yeah, it was just one thing. And I didn't double pharma, the team did, right? Every business I went, the team did. So there's one thing which has been identified, and the team and the board says is unlock the best out of the people around you. And that I can do. So I don't bring any other specific skill. I'm not a technical person. I'm not in depth in, okay, I do understand pharma and logistics a bit more than the others maybe. But I think the key only thing I bring to the table is making sure I understand each one's potential, putting the right people at the right place, and giving that environment for them to perform their best. So basically, I'm getting the best version of themselves there. So pharma, exactly that's what happened. We had a team, didn't change any of them. And the only when I was transferred, one thing Stephen told me is just bring the best out of that team. That was it. And that the best did was phenomenal when the team unlocked, and the things they thought about, what they dreamt about, was amazing.
After all, it's all about managing people and how you bring out the best in them, right?
And remember, they're human beings, right?
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely. So there you go, some great advice coming out from Kasturi about how you can unlock your potential and see the better side of things, and then things will just flow and things will fall in place. I would also like to ask you this question. I think I've been asking you a lot in terms of your the very first appointment. Talking about a normal day for you, I'm sure like you mentioned the term human beings. After all, we are all human beings. And there may be days that you feel like, today I don't feel like doing this anymore. I need to give up. I'm stressed out. I just feel like, just staying on bed, watching a movie. How does the work-life balance happen to you? How do you take control of it?
So I think over years and over all what I've gone through, I kind of have a sense of what makes me happy. So I know I need to exercise every day to get my inner peace and kind of get my mojo going for the day. So if I didn't do that, I know I'm not going to be happy. My kids are a big part of my life. Not seeing them for the last 2.5 years was a real tough thing, right? But I acknowledge it. So you can't. The secret I have is I acknowledge what makes me unhappy. And I think if I can control it, if I can't control it, I just acknowledge it and keep it there, and you move on. You don't stress out too much about it, because there's nothing I can do by stressing out. If I feel I don't want to go out and rest, I'll be the one cancelling the dinner and saying, look, I need time off. I'm going to take a break today. And I wouldn't overload myself. I'm very well aware when I'm getting overloaded. And work, if I'm at work, I generally don't give up. If we don't win a deal, that's because we tried our best and it didn't come our way. I won't give up before trying. I did that once, actually. Especially I learned that very early in life is when I was working at Somester, and I got married and I was pregnant, right?
Okay.
And I just wanted to be this mother. So The natural thing is, as you get pregnant, you go and give your resignation out. Right?
Yes.
So I gave it to Mr. Jayavikram. I went and gave my resignation. He said, "Why?" I said, "No, I'm pregnant and I'm already not working." And he said, "No, but you've not had your baby yet, so why don't you work and take the decision later? You work from home, we'll adjust." And actually, I made a decision before trying. So that's what I do at work. Is I wouldn't give up work till I would be relentless till I get that whatever I'm having to be done. And because of that nature, if you're going on a prolonged kind of project or some initiative, it drains you out. It drains you out, and it drains me out. So then I actually take time off, like a couple of days. I would go out of Colombo with my close friends, and I chill and recoup and come. And weirdly now, my team knows it, my bosses know it, the board knows it, that every 2-3 months I tell them, look, I need a break, and they know that's because I need to recharge my batteries. But that self-awareness is something I have worked at. And so which gives me an outlook that, look, it's all within your control, the choices you make. If you're not happy, you're feeling tired, it's your choice. Then take time off.
Yes.
Tell them and take time off. If you want to chill at home, it's your choice. So I generally know when I'm stressed. Now my kids, I couldn't see them, but I didn't cry. Okay, I do cry here and there, but I didn't moan and grope about it all the time, because there was nothing I could do about it. So that's how I approach it. So I know my sense of fulfillment. There's a big part of my life I give back to people. And if I didn't, I feel weird, right?
Okay.
So that's my choice. And if I can learn to live without it, fine, but I can't. And so I have to learn to manage and figure out how I can impact lives more.
If there's a fact that everyone doesn't know about Kasturi, what would that fact be?
That I cry for happy movies and sad movies equally. No shame, equally. And my sons laugh when there's a happy moment. They're looking at me because I'm pouring with tears. And of course, sad, the run-up to itself, they know that I'm going to bawl and cry.
I have the same experience back at home. Even if it's a cartoon and it's like a sad moment, I see the person next to me also doing the same. So we're in the same boat.
Today I was coming to work and my driver was in front, and there was a clip somebody had sent. It was about a mother going and hugging the son who is a soldier, and he was on attention, so he couldn't move, but she was hugging and holding him and crying, and the son was crying, and I was bawling and crying. I took tissue and wiped, because I thought my driver must be thinking I'm off my head just crying there. So yeah.
There you go. You heard another side of Kasturi as well. Well, I think it was a lovely conversation with you, and we got to know a lot. I personally did get to know a lot about you. The first time that we're having a conversation of this sort, it was lovely. I think we have also reached to the end of our show, but I would like to ask you a few more. Challenges, weaknesses, success, failure is common to all of us. How would you overcome this term as a challenge or failure on a usual day?
I think challenges are going to be there all the time. How you approach it and the inner mindset of approaching it. So you can look at a challenge and say, God, it's a challenge and there's another challenge today. Or look at the challenge and say, yeah, let's figure out how we can overcome it. So I come from a place that I think I've gone through so much, and I think challenges are there in your life to stay. If you get a period of about 6 months without a challenge, it's like a bonus for you, right? But winning and failing, I think because I'm competitive, winning is the result you want. You term it a losing, or failing is the result you don't like, or you've tried and you still don't get it. Over time, why would I love to win all the time? But you have to accept that there are winners and losers, or you don't get everything you want. I struggle when I know it's the right thing, we should have got it and won, and we have tried, but we should have tried harder. If you ask me, do I remember the winning moments? I don't. I don't actually, but if there is, I would remember the moments I didn't get it right, and it's like I kick myself. It's like, why didn't I do this? Why didn't I do that? I kind of, that's my problem. I should let it go faster, but I don't overcome losses or something which I couldn't win.
Okay.
Yeah, that kind of lingers a bit longer than I want.
Okay. Very well said. I would like to ask you this question. Leadership. You are already taking up leadership. You are a leader in what you do, and people look up to you. Now, if you look at it in a political angle, if Kasturi was given the opportunity to take up leadership in that element in terms of politics, would this individual do it? And if so, what are the changes he would bring to the table?
Firstly, Kasturi will never take up politics because, simple answer, a person with my personality who says it as it is, wants the right outcome, won't be politically correct, will never survive in politics. So I don't think that even will have become an answer question, because I don't think, but simply as a citizen, if I, as Kasturi, who's a citizen, would want to see in our leadership, I think as a country, whichever the party, we need leaders who work for the country, do the right thing, and do we just work so that the country is more efficient, do right by the country, which might not be right politically, and let that be sustained throughout. So you come in as a job, you might be fired, but you also, when you get fired, you know it's the right thing you've done.
Yes.
And all of us together should remove corruption out, because we need to save that money for the country. We are like at the verge of having no results. So where can we do our part? And it can happen if all change our mindset and say, right, we've done all this. If it was a company, I would have said, right, let's save money. Let's do the right things. This will give me this result. This will give me this result. Halfway through, I can get fired. But still, the person coming in would have to know that this is the right initiative. This is going to get the company out of the woods. So you still have the same plan.
Kasturi says no to politics, but as a citizen, she has a lot of things planned out, I would say. I think it was a very fruitful conversation. We are about to bring this lovely conversation to a close. Before we end it, is there one advice, a tip that you would like to share with the audience?
So the thing is, each of us is unique, and each of our journeys are different. So what you all are doing are showcasing different people, different journeys. And it's not necessarily that one is better than the other. Now, I admire what Asha does because she's impacting in the environment, and I'll admire what Yohani does. But each of us is different. I couldn't do that. They couldn't do what I'm doing. So remember that it's not a competition. If all citizens try to bring the best out of themselves, we'll have an amazing country. So
Definitely.
Don't compete with each other, but within yourselves.
Some lovely advice, some great advice. I'm sure you watching us within this couple of minutes would have got so much of inspiration from this lovely individual, Kasturi Chellaraja. Once again, on behalf of the team, thank you very much for joining with us. And I'm sure we meet each other in days and months and years to come, and wishing you all the very best in everything that you do. So we end the session with this. Thank you very much, and good luck to all of you, and we'll see you soon once again with another episode of I Am. Until then, take care and stay safe.